Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, back again with another project for you, and this time a bit of a series of Celebration Saturday showcasing some of the fabulous products that you can get for free when you make a purchase of £45 or more in my Stampin' Up shop. And this time it's this lovely Japanese inspired Power of Hope stamp set and the accompanying stone effect embossing folder. Now it doesn't look very exciting there, but look what we're going to make. And you can see here by inking up that lovely stone effect you get this fabulous crazy paving effect. And I've just created a fan fold with kind of inspired by Japanese stuff fans and that kind of sense, which I thought was just a bit of fun to create. And so we're going to use the embossing folder, the stamp set, and then some tassels which are from the Dressed to Impress suite. So these are the best dressed suite. These are the best dressed tassels. So let's get cracking with the project. Now it's a fun fold, but you know, like a lot of the fun folds I do, they really aren't difficult once you get started. So to start off with then, we're going to get our trimmer, and you're going to need a piece of cardstock, and this time I'm actually going to go much more subtle. So in my sample I use this lovely bright, lovely lipstick Flirty Flamingo combination, and I thought I'd perhaps go a little bit softer with perhaps pinks and greys. So instead of which I'm going to use the Petal Pink here, and you need a piece of cardstock that is 20.5 by 14.5 centimetres. As usual, I will convert into inches for those of you that use inches as well. So if we cut it to 14.5 first, and then cut that down to 20.5. Obviously it gives you some really nice pieces that are ready for you to use, and this one is perfect for that layer at the back. And then we want to do some scoring. So we're going to start scoring at 10, 11.5, 13, 14.5, the pesky 16, which we can now get on our new trimmer, 17.5, and then 19 centimetres, like so. So that's all of our scoring done. You're then going to want to cut some panels, and what you want to do is cut this to 13.5 centimetres, 13.5, you don't at all, you want to cut it to 3.5 centimetres. And then I'm going to cut 3 panels of 9.5 centimetres. And that was why it was important to cut that strip off the edge of the cardstock first, because it gives you this piece, which you can get the 3 pieces from. Okay. Next you're going to need a piece of, I'm going to use Smoky Slate, and this is 9, I'm going to cut it to 9.5 by 14 centimetres. So that's our back layer, and then this piece is going to be trimmed to 9 centimetres by 13.5, I'll just check that, yep, 13.5, and that gives you your back layer to go on the panel there. Okay, so pop your trimmer away and let's get on with the stamping as well. So these are our pieces, and this is our card base. And what I've done is I've used the stitch shapes to die cut some pieces already. So I'm not going to show you die cutting. Obviously if you haven't got a die, then a punch you could use instead, but I've used these lovely dies again because I felt they kind of matched the effect of the pagoda as well. So we're going to stamp some images and then trim those as well. So let's get on. Okay, so I'm going to use some memento to stamp my images. That's because we're going to colour them using our blends. So you'll see that what I've actually done is, that's the shape I'm using for the tree. There's a spare. That one I'm using for my sentiment. This middle size one is for the lady, and this one is for the pagoda. So now with all of these, I'm actually putting the image towards the top end of each of the shapes, and that's so that it gives us plenty of space at the bottom, and it maximises the space at the bottom. So there's my pagoda. Here's my beautiful geisha. And you'll just see I'm using my grid paper just to help make sure I've got those nice and straight. And then finally, I'm going to stamp my tree. So, while I've got my ink pad out, I'm actually going to take a scrap of Whisper White and stamp a little sort of lantern as well, just on a small scrap of cardstock, and stamp my image as well. I'm going to use smoky slate for that. So I'm going to come in with smoky slate for sentiment, and this needs to go right at the very top. Okay. Then I'm going to come in, not get it upside down, pop one lantern on the bottom there, and then stamp another couple on the side. And then we can crack on with some colouring. So, in terms of colour, I thought this time if we're going to go more subtle and use Petal Pink, I'm going to do the dress in Petal Pink. And just using the sort of 2 or 3 shades. Okay, I'll come in with the darker shade. I'm going to use a bit of Calypso Coral in here. Just add a bit of shading and then come back in and blend that out. And then use that light Calypso Coral for her pretty parasol. I'm just going to use a couple of dots of a darker shade. Now you could do, I should have used my dark Calypso Coral, but I didn't get it out. So there we go, never mind. So I'll just use the light Calypso Coral to come in and blend those, just to give a little bit more dimension and shading. And then I'm going to use my black, which I have got just here. This is my basic black marker, just to come in and colour the hair. I perhaps could have used the light one there, might have allowed the stamping to show through, but I still think you get the impression. And then underneath I'm just going to use, otherwise you get this sort of odd effect, so I'm just going to add a little bit of shading below, and I'm going to actually use some light balmy blue to come around the image. Kind of give her what this does is kind of grounds the image, and you're not kind of colouring the whole background, but you're just giving a hint of the sky behind, like so. And there's our first image. For our tree, I'm going to come in again with some Mossy Meadow. I'm just going to kind of colour the main tree area, and then come in with the dark, because you sort of don't get that solid kind of colour. And then again, just a little bit of blending. And then pop in with the dark soft suede. To give some definition to those roots and branches as well. And again, just tie that in with the other images with a little green. And then finally we'll come in with our pagoda. Now I have used the dark Calypso coral here. I knew I'd got it out for some reason. And I don't know if this is traditional art. I kind of coloured this as if it was tiles. Sort of red, tiled pagoda. Just I thought it was sort of rather effective. And then coming in with my dark brown, some nice bit of soft suede to kind of give the effect of a wood. I don't know if that's kind of traditional or not. I perhaps should have had a look. That's an idea. And again, a little bit of balmy blue over the top there. So again, I would do that on all of my images, but just to kind of give you the effect there. And then our images we can just colour with whatever colour we wanted, probably the Calypso coral to give it some definition. Okay, so next thing we want to do is actually create our stone effect panel. So if you take your folder, and you will feel that one side it's sort of debossed and the other one you've actually got some quite clear ridges. So that's the side I'm going to ink, and I'm just going to take my ink pad and just gently dab that all over. Keep your card out of the way. And you'll see I'm not doing a lot on that, not pressing or twisting it at all. You just want that light effect. And then I'm going to pop that using my new blue embossing plate, you can see there. So pop that on my stamp platform with my card face down. The important thing is not to move it. So just pop that like so. Pop our plate on the top. And then run that through your Big Shot. And then when that comes back in, you'll see you've got that stone effect on the back there. So let's crack on with our layers. So now we've created our stone panel. Now if you don't like that effect, then obviously you could just emboss your folder. I just rather liked the effect it gave and the definition it gave. So there's our panel. If we come back in with our card base, and next we want to use your bone folder, and it's really important to get really good, reinforce the creases on these in both directions. So in one direction first, and then to zigzag. So you're going to fold it back and create a zigzag. And obviously important to do this before you start adding layers, because what you don't want to do is crush the embossing pattern. Okay, like so. So we have the concertina. Add our panel to the back. Like so. And then we need to take these strips, and with these strips you're going to use some red tape on the end of each one. That's because as I always say, it's a moving part. If it's a moving part, we need to add some red tape. So just pop that in, just a piece on each end, on one end of each piece I should say, so a piece on each end. And while we're here, I'm going to add a piece of red tape to the inside of this front flap as well. So next, take the tape off the one end, fold your flap in, and we're just going to line that up with the outside edge, like so. I put that in the wrong place. Okay, not to worry. That one should have been at the front. Okay, we'll pretend I'm not doing this. I will. Okay, you're not going to do it. You're going to put it in the right place. Okay, so with our first one, we're going to pop it at the very front, like so. Then we're going to do our second flap. Open it up like so. And again, line it up with this outside edge and add. And then our final one, just quickly add a bit of glue there, goes onto our third flap, as you can see. This goes in here, again aligning it with that outside edge, like so. So there you get, let's move that a little bit high, there we go. And there are our three flaps. And all that remains is to add our pieces of card. Now what I did was I cut across the bottom edge and then just added a little glue to that first one. And I used that as my focal point. I then did the same on my second, so adding glue to the reverse, and this time I just aligned that with the bottom and with the point of this one here. And then my final one, again trimming across, and I added that just to line up here, giving your kind of 3D effect. All that remains is to add our sentiment to the back here, and we'll add our punched hole to the top here to thread our tassel through. And all I've done is I've just punched a hole like so, added a little thread to one of our tassels, and remember I said I'd got petal pink in here. These are really nice and secure, but they are difficult to get out. And by adding the red tape on the other side, just enables me to pop that through the centre, like so. All these things work out well on when you have time, not when you're doing it on video and your time is running out. And then all that does is attach on the inside there, trim away the excess, you don't need that in there, and fold in place. And there we have our Japanese inspired pair of fan fold cards. So I hope you enjoy making these and you come along and make one either on your own or at my class. In the meantime, if you'd like to purchase any products that you see, pop along to my Stampin' Up shop, heidismith.stampinup.net. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.